Hi everyone, and welcome to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review. I'm Stephanie, and I've been collecting and selling vintage fashion magazines for over 20 years.
And I'm Morley. I'm a former copywriter and am now an award-winning playwright and screenwriter.
Together, we will examine some of your favorite vintage fashion magazines from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
On Uncovered, we'll discuss some of the magazine's models, layouts, and did I mention the models?
And we'll also review some of the ads and articles that make these magazines such a great piece of pop culture history. So, fasten your seatbelts and let's get uncovered! Hey guys, welcome to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review Podcast, Episode 11. Today, we're going to review Harper's Bazaar magazine, February of 1982.
So, Steph, I'm going to ask you the same question I ask you since we've been doing this, and that is, what do you remember about, in this case, February of 1982 or just 1982 in general?
So, February 1982, let's just talk about the month of February. So, being in elementary school in February meant Valentine's.
Definitely.
So we would be writing out Valentine's cards for basically our entire class. There was nothing romantic or,
I couldn't imagine, yes.
About it.
We have to do the same thing.
So
yeah.
I don't know about 1982 specifically, but in February I'd probably be sitting down preparing my Valentine's cards.
Okay. Well, that's very sweet.
And what about you, Morley?
I don't really remember too much about 1982, but February means it's winter, which means I was probably looking forward to my next road hockey game. So that's all I really remember.
Yeah, big hockey guy.
Exactly.
And maybe a little bit of driveway shoveling too.
Yeah, probably more than I care to remember, but thanks for that awful memory. So let's talk about...
My pleasure.
Let's talk about some of the songs that were popular. You remember the song Centerfold by the J. Giles Band?
Definitely.
Was it J. Giles or J. Giles?
Giles.
Okay, good enough. So Centerfold was, of course, really, really popular back in February of 1982. Also, one of your favorites, I Can't Go For That.
Oh, No Can Do. Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates, yeah. And, of course, Physical, which I think we've talked about before by Olivia Newton-John. Yes. You remember the song Twist and Shout by the Beatles?
Definitely.
Okay, well, that was from 1964. That has nothing to do with this, so I'm just telling you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Next, movies. There's a movie called Missing with Jack Lemmon and Sissy Spacek. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I never saw it either, but what's interesting about it is that Jack Lemmon is known for being mostly in comedies. He was in The Apartment, Grumpy Old Men, the list goes on and on. Just, amazing actor.
We saw The Apartment.
We saw The Apartment with Shirley MacLaine, but he's known for being more of a comedic actor. But Missing was actually a very dramatic role for him. So it was a nice change. Also, Swamp Thing, which I believe was directed, I think, by John Carpenter, based on the, I think it was a DC comic book character. My brother used to collect Swamp Thing. And Death Wish 2 with Charles Bronson. I remember my parents and I used to enjoy watching Charles Bronson movies from The Great Escape. And he was, really big. He was like the action hero in the 70s, like Clint Eastwood was. So really, really popular. Also, in February of 1982, Late Night with David Letterman made its debut.
That long ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
So we should do a top 10 list for reasons why you should listen to Uncovered Vintage Podcast Review, but there's time constraints. Also, John Holmes, remember the porn star, he stood trial for murder. I think that's appropriate way of saying it. He stood trial. Also, the last episode of the Lawrence Welk Show aired.
Really?
And a 1 and a 2. Yeah. Did you ever watch the Lawrence Welk Show?
Oh, no way. That was way before my time.
Well, 1982 necessarily wasn't, but usually it was on Sundays in the afternoon, and it was probably a good time to take a nap. So let's talk about Harper's Bazaar magazine, February 1982.
Sounds good. So our cover girl is Carole Alt. Photography, Francesco Scavullo. Hair by Bob Fink for Peppino Boucherie. Makeup, Way Bandy. And Carole's wearing fashion by Ron Leal. She's wearing a periwinkle silk cavalry shirt over a melon-colored long-sleeve blouse with small lapel collar. So I'm going to go ahead and read you the headlines as usual. The New You, your easy guide to great health and beauty. America's 10 Most Wanted Men, Expert Advice, You in Love, Coping with Infidelity and Jealousy, Falling for the Wrong Man, Rollo May, How to Mend a Broken Heart, American Fashion, 200 New Options, New Style, and last but not least, Petite Bazaar, What's Best for Spring if you are 5'4" and under.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about our cover girl, Carole Alt. She's a native New Yorker from Flushing, Queens. She was discovered while waitressing, and she began modeling at age 18 to save money for college.
That's nice.
Yes. She was among the first of the brunette models to become successful in an industry that preferred blondes for sure. In fact, she has said that her agency told her not to get her hopes up for a cover.
Wow.
Because they really preferred blue-eyed blondes at that time.
Okay.
So her first big break was the cover of Harper's Bazaar, 1978. Of course, this is 4 years later, 1982. Carole's appeared on over 500 magazine covers in the 1980s. Her covers have included Vogue, Cosmo, and Sports Illustrated, as well as numerous ad campaigns. I mean, you can hardly turn a page without seeing a Carole Alt ad.
Yep.
So Carole's acted as well, and she's an author of several books promoting her raw diet and healthy lifestyle. And by the way, Carole Alt, very active on social media. So you guys should definitely check her out.
She's very nice. I mean, I've sent some messages and she's responded back. Not private messages, of course, but in general and on Twitter. And she's been very kind.
She's very, very nice.
Yes.
Go ahead and follow her, guys.
Yes.
So that's the cover of Harper's Bazaar, February 1982.
Great. So on page 36, there's an article entitled America's Most Wanted Men. And they have a number of single men, allegedly single, and they talk a little bit about them and what they look for in women. So the first one is Dudley Moore. Do you remember Dudley Moore?
Definitely.
Right.
Arthur,
yes, exactly. So he was also part of the Goons from England, which also included, I believe, Peter Sellers, Peter Cook. There's a bunch of others. And in fact, just a little piece of trivia, the Goons recorded with George Martin prior to him becoming the Beatles' producer.
How interesting.
In fact, that's one of the things that the Beatles really liked about George Martin, was that he really had a strong background in comedy, and the Beatles all loved the Goons, and of course the Beatles loved George Martin, and he later loved them. So a little bit of trivia there. Dudley Moore was also in the movie 10, and of course that starred Bo Derek. He was involved in a long-term relationship with another model, Susan Anton, if you remember her.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course they were known for being very leggy and very tall. Another of America's Most Wanted Men was O.J. Simpson. Yes?
Oh, the irony.
The O.J. If they only knew how prophetic this article was. I mean, who wrote it? Nostradamus? I mean, it's amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah. And what I love is that they talk a little bit about him, very briefly, his career, what he looks for in women. And he says, I'm not one to change girls too often or too quickly. So that's unless he kills them first. So it's really sad, but bizarre at the same time.
Yes.
They also talk about Reggie Jackson. Any sports fans out there, Mr. October for the New York Yankees. He started his career with the Oakland A's, but was really famous for hitting those home runs in the World Series. And lastly, George Hamilton. So George Hamilton, the perpetually tanned human being, was married to Alanis Stewart, I should say, up until 73, but had been a bachelor for a very long time. What I remember most about him was, aside from the fact that he was in this movie called Evel Knievel, he was always on every game show. So I used to watch a lot of game shows in the 70s and some 80s.
That's true.
And he was always on the game shows.
That's true.
So he had like a second career. Anyway, again, a really great article, which is unexpected, but it's, it's the month of love, February, so they're trying to show the most desirable single men, I guess. So very interesting.
So continuing on with our theme of love and romance in February, we come to page 96. It's a layout entitled American Spring is Romantic. It's 10 pages, each with their own short captions. So the models are Juli Foster, Donald Sutherland, Yasmine Guenancia, Iman, Bitten Knudsen, Ron Duguay, Lisa Berkley, Peter Martins, Andy Gibb, Robert Hayes.
No, wait a second. I got to take offense at this because I'm a hockey aficionado. It's Ron Duguay.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
So, Ron, if you're listening,
I'm
my
so
wife
sorry.
knows not what she speaks of.
Ron Duguay.
Thank you.
Robert Hayes, Kelly Emberg, and others.
Robert Hayes. You remember Robert Hayes? Well, I guess
I do, yeah.
Okay, because
yes.
I think I picked a bad time to stop sniffing glue. He was from the movie Airplane.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
I'm going to go on to discuss Robert Hayes a little bit.
Excuse me.
Okay. Photos are by Jacques Malignon. Hair by Didier Malige, Anthony Demey, Orbe, Jose Louis, and makeup by Anne-Marie Bartholomew, Jose Luis, I suppose he did hair as well, David Frank Ray, Rex, and Sophie Levy. The models were in fashion by Halston, Oscar de la Renta, Christian Dior, and Calvin Klein, among other designers. So I will go ahead and read the caption. Get ready to fall in love. You're about to see the most irresistible...
No. Let me do it.
Okay, go for it.
Get ready to fall in love. You're about to see the most irresistible, knock-him-dead clothes ever. The big news, your pleasure and his is suede, the sensational seasonless fabric to buy for spring in everything from easy pullovers to skirts, dresses, pants, and jackets. Here and on the next pages are the clothes you won't be able to pass up, the men you won't want to turn down, all of which goes to say, American Spring is romantic.
Awesome.
Thank you. On behalf of the Academy, I'd like to thank my mother, go ahead.
So in a nutshell, this layout is about different ways to wear suede in spring, and it's a showcase for the hottest men of the time.
I don't think I'm in here. Oh, you know what? I get it, because there I only would have been about 16 years old. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not so insulted.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the layout includes 10 top male celebrities of the day, each flanked by a group of top models. Okay, we'll start off with the first 2 pages. Donald Sutherland, and he's promoting his movie Threshold.
Never heard of it.
Have you seen it? Heard of it?
Never heard of it.
So Donald Sutherland, of course, a Canadian from New Brunswick. Right on.
Great White North, yes.
Moving forward to the next 2 pages, we have Ed Koch, who was the mayor of New York City at the time. Very well respected, as I understand.
Yes.
Following 2 pages, we have Ron Duguay, another Canadian. He's a hockey player.
Used to be a hockey player for the New York Rangers. Mostly, yeah.
And in the 90s, he was actually married to model Kim Alexis.
Right.
They've since divorced.
Right.
Peter Martins is a Danish dancer. At the time, he danced with the New York City Ballet.
Right.
Andy Gibb.
Andy Gibb, rest in peace.
Bee Gees' youngest brother. He had hits including I Just Want to Be Your Everything in 1977. And at this time, he was host of TV's Solid Gold from 1981 to 1982.
What I remember
Do you remember Solid Gold?
I do not. I mean, I heard of it, but I didn't watch those types of shows.
I remember Solid Gold for sure.
But I remember more from the tabloids. You'd see it everywhere. He was involved in this heartbreaking romance with Victoria Principal, who I think was from Dallas. So I remember that, and I remember it was just really sad. They broke up, and it really destroyed him.
Yeah.
So,
and it was about the drugs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what ended up costing him his life.
And last but not least, we have the actor Robert Hayes. So as you said earlier, he's from the movie Airplane. He played pilot Ted Stryker.
Yeah.
Remember Stryker?
I remember.
Yes. And he went on to marry, you may not be aware of this, but he actually went on to marry Cherie Currie from The Runaways.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They've since divorced, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that interesting?
That's neat.
Yeah. So that's it for this layout.
So on pages 58 to 59, I want to bring everyone's attention to an ad for Merit Ultralight cigarettes. So, Steph, maybe you can describe the ad briefly?
So it's a 2-page ad, and you're looking at a cigarette that spans the 2 pages, very large.
At the top of the page?
At the top of the page, and then a book of matches that say Merit Ultralight 100s. And on the right side, on the right page, it says, only one Ultralight 100s gives you the Merit taste idea.
So, this is an example, in my opinion, of a cigarette company giving up. I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, if anyone could tell me what the Merit taste idea is, I'd love to know. Is that the taste idea that you have to see your doctor more regularly? Is it you want to check for black spots on your lung? I don't understand this. So to me, it's like, let me give you a little bit about the history of advertising, if you will. And this is true. So way back in the early days, I'm talking the 1800s, even before that probably, a lot of products were sold in bulk. Pickles, cigarettes, soap, and they're kind of generic. So you'd ask for, a dozen pickles or 20 cigarettes, and often you wouldn't even necessarily know who the manufacturer was. So in an effort to make their product stand out more, advertisers came up with packaging. And now you can ask for it by name, right? So now you'd ask for Pear's soap as opposed to soap, or whatever the case was. So the reason I'm saying that is because in the early days, it was all about packaging. It was all about, now you're creating some slogans for yourself. If you look at the early advertisers, Jell-O, and they would sponsor the Jack Benny radio show and things like that to make themselves stand out. But you're a cigarette manufacturer. And by this point in the 80s, everyone knew that cigarettes will kill you. Eventually, anyway. So what can you really do to make yourself stand out? I don't think there's really any difference in taste among cigarettes. Maybe
I think a smoker would differ. I think a smoker would tell you that they do taste different.
I don't know. But the point is, though, is that, again, the line here is only one ultralight 100s. I have no idea what that means. Gives you the merit taste idea. So again, it just seems like they're running out of ideas to advertise their cigarettes. How about, instead, if it was me, how about only Merit Ultralight gives you pause for thought when you're at the stoplight? I don't know. It's something different. Anyway, I just thought it was unique because it was so boring, and it seems like they're running out of ideas. And I don't think they ever came up with their own slogan. And if the merit taste idea was, well, they have not come a long way, baby.
Page 108 is a layout entitled American Spring is ... And they use different headlines to describe American Spring on the different pages. So American Spring is sexy, soft, fun, racy, snappy, romantic, and clean. So is it me or like snappy? That's an 80s word. Like you would never see the word snappy in a magazine now. American Spring is snappy.
Well, sometimes, I might say, come on, Steph, make it snappy. Hurry up.
That's true. Very true. So I'm going to go ahead and read the caption. Spring, sexier, snappier, more romantic than ever, with the surprise of featherweight fabrics that slide over your body, fabulously flattering, irresistibly all-American. All the winning looks and more, here on the next 12 pages.
Do you think they're purposely putting all this alliteration to drive the readers crazy? Like featherweight fabrics and sexy, snappier. It seems like there's a lot of alliteration here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
So, gorgeous layout, starting off with Halston. I'll go ahead and name the models first. We have Shaun Casey, Carrie Nygren, Eva Voorhees, and Donna Stia, all top models from the 1980s. Photography by Mike Reinhardt, hair by Simon Marsden, makeup Wendy Whitelaw, and the layout features American designers such as Halston, Jeffrey Bean, Perry Ellis, Oscar de la Renta. What's so amazing about this article is there's a quote from each of the designers to accompany the models that are wearing his clothes. So I'm going to go ahead and read the first quote from Halston. So Halston says, "I like lots of draping because if you have a good figure, it makes it better. If you don't, it gives you one. And in spring, women have their bodies in shape. They're healthy. The dresses are therefore figure revealing. Women like that and men love it." So it's always nice to get advice from top designers of the day, for sure. Mm-hmm. And the layout itself is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Now I'm just going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the makeup artist, Wendy Whitelaw. So Wendy's a super talented makeup artist. She's worked in the fashion industry for over 40 years.
40 years? My goodness.
Over 40 years. She started off her career in New York City. She began to work for the top fashion magazines such as Vogue, Bazaar, Glamour, Elle. She's worked on numerous ad campaigns, Revlon, Maybelline, L'Oreal, Chanel, so many others. She's also worked in theater, music videos, and films. She is awesome. She happens to be well known for her own personal style. And if you've seen her, she's quite striking looking. She's very attractive herself.
Okay. Never seen her, but okay.
Yes. She's now started working as a freelance glamour illustrator, and her illustrations are fantastic.
So what is a glamour illustrator, do you know?
You have to see her illustrations to understand. She draws women, but sort of in caricature.
And for those of you who are listening to this, Stephanie's using her hands to kind of describe this to me.
You have to see. You know what? She's on Instagram.
Okay.
She is incredible. I would encourage all of you to check out her Instagram page and have a look.
Okay.
Just amazing.
Including me.
Wendy Whitelaw.
Wendy Whitelaw. Okay, sounds good. Anything else that you wanted to add about her, or This particular?
No, I think that's just about it for this.
But it's good
layout.
also because, again, this is a name that we haven't heard before. And this is, again, one of the reasons why we started Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review, to give voices to those perhaps who don't really have.
Yeah. Well, I know Wendy. I mean,
Well, tell her I say hi.
I've heard of Wendy Whitelaw.
I understand, but a lot of people who are listening perhaps have not.
This is true.
And we just want to give credit to those perhaps who don't receive enough credit.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
And she does such a beautiful job here. Look at the makeup.
Oh, yeah.
It's a focus on the eyes with a pale lip.
Mm-hmm.
Just gorgeous.
It's flawless.
Very 80s.
Yeah, it's really flawless.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So I can definitely see why you chose this. And again, kudos to Wendy Whitelaw.
Amazing.
So check her out on Instagram. I know I will. So I want to bring everyone's attention to this double page ad on pages 66 to 67. And once again, Steph, if you would be so kind as to do the honors of describing what the ad is.
So you're looking at ladies lounging on lounge chairs, but you're only seeing them from sort of the mid-thigh and down.
So the actual picture itself is taken from up high.
It's taken from up high and upside down. The legs are pointing upward.
Right.
It's a little hard to describe.
Well, that's why I wanted you to do it.
so thanks. Appreciate that. So they've just been playing badminton because there are 3 badminton rackets at the top of the photo. And it says, the ad is captioned, "Go Bass or Go Barefoot."
So I'll take over from here. So
Thanks.
Basically, my pleasure. So what's interesting, first of all, is that you have 3 badminton rackets and you have 6 pairs of legs. So wonder which 3 are not playing. And who's ever heard of playing badminton with 3 people? Usually it's 4 people or 2 people. So that's kind of weird. But nonetheless.
And wearing high-heeled sandals.
Wedges, I guess, right?
Or wedges, thank you.
Yes, I knew something you didn't. Woohoo! Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 11, and I finally knew something that Stephanie didn't. So anyway, there's 6 pairs of legs, beautifully pedicured, I guess is the right word. But what's interesting about this ad, of the 6 pairs of legs, only 5 are wearing shoes. So the one that's not is going barefoot, which basically the ad is saying that this person did not have the Bass footwear, so she decided to go barefoot. So I thought it was a really clever play on the ad. Go Bass or go barefoot. And 5
Very
of the 6.
eye-catching.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ad. Beautifully manicured lawn. So 5 of the 6 are wearing presumably Bass shoes, and one of them is not. So I guess she did not have any. So really great ad. And we often go to Bass shoes ourselves when we go to Buffalo.
Yes.
So anyway, great ad and beautiful colors, fantastic photography, whoever that was. And it's great.
Page 122 is a section called Petite Bazaar. Taller than ever, spring look ahead. It's 8 pages, black and white and color. And some of you fans of Harper Bazaar know that they often have this Petite Bazaar where they focus on
Smaller.
vertically challenged women.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the caption. Spring, when gentle warm weather makes you want sexy clothes that bear a little skin. And the new looks are terrific for petites, long or short, proportions are simple and scaled down, cut with a softness that drapes your body. For city to country, day to night, these are the special silhouettes to look for.
Okay.
Our models are Carole Bayer-Sager, Susan Lucci, who's always in this section.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she lives here. Bernadette Peters, Morgan Brittany. Photos by James Moore and Matthew Ralston. Hair by Matthew, Lawrence De Palma, Tony Capella, and makeup by Pierre Laroche, Wendy Whitelaw, and Gary Berkowitz. Fashion designers include Calvin Klein, Bill Blass, and Giorgio Armani. So Susan Lucci, of course, is from All My Children. Morgan Brittany is a star of Dallas. She played Catherine Wentworth, and in the article she's quoted as saying, "I shop for my own film wardrobe and look for quality fabrics with a scaled-down cut. It works. People think I'm 5'8" on screen. She's 5'4.5".
Okay.
So first of all, I thought that was pretty impressive that she would shop for her own film wardrobe.
Yeah.
She must have impeccable taste. And also, I just want to say, 5'4.5" is not that short.
No, not for you. I mean, she could reach things you could never reach.
But anyhow, women look beautiful.
Can I talk about Susan Lucci for 1 second?
Sure.
So I've never watched, she was in All My Children or something?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen 2 seconds of the soap, but I've seen her a lot in the newspapers and media. She never ages. It's unbelievable. How old is she? 71 years old? Something like that. So she never ages. I don't even know if she has a wrinkle. I don't even know if she knows what a wrinkle is. She never ages. I'm sure somewhere there must be a painting of her that's aging terribly. Sort of like the picture of Dorian Gray.
I know.
She never ages, but the picture does.
She looks amazing.
It's unbelievable.
I know. She always looks the same.
It's incredible.
I don't know how she does it.
It's
good
really
for you,
amazing.
Susan Lucci.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that just about wraps up this.
Well, also, I want to talk about, before we wrap it up,
okay.
I want to talk a little bit about Carole Bayer-Sager.
Yes.
So around this time, she also won an Academy Award for Arthur's theme, right?
Yeah.
So, which is one of my all-time favorite movie themes.
Oh, so she wrote The Best That You Can Do.
The Best That You Can Do, and that was sung by, of course, we know, Christopher Cross.
Christopher Cross.
Right? So The Best That You Can Do. We love Christopher Cross. For those of you that don't know, unfortunately, he contracted COVID and it left him paralyzed for a little while.
We are big fans. We were actually, Morley was planning to take me to New York for my birthday to see Christopher Cross in concert because I love him that much. Right. So Christopher Cross, I think he's on his way to recovery.
He's actually almost completely recovered. In fact, I saw him on social media. He was bicycling in his hometown. He's doing much better. I believe his concerts have been rescheduled. Super nice guy, very friendly on social media, and very talented and very humble gentleman.
And we will definitely go see him.
Absolutely.
When his concert is rescheduled.
That's right. So looking forward to that. But again, Carole Bayer-Sager, fantastic, amazing songwriter, tremendous talent. I can go on about her, but great article about Petit Bazaar.
So I'm actually going to skip ahead to page 156. We've got to skip a couple of amazing layouts in this issue because of time constraints.
This is chock full of information we could have really discussed.
This is the most amazing issue. Yeah. So page 156, it's a layout entitled The Sensational Slide. It's 8 pages, color photos as well as black and white. And the models are Donna Stia and Sheila Johnson. Photography by Uli Rose, hair by Pascal Bossier, and makeup by Fran Cooper. So I'm going to go ahead and read you the caption. The slide, a mere handful of the most fluid fabric, cut luxuriously, loose and bare. Wear it as a tunic or a dress. You'll love the way it skims your body. Unbelievably sensual. The shape of things to come for spring, here and on the next 6 pages. So I'll be honest with you all, audience. I had to look up what a slide is.
What is a slide?
And I Googled it because I thought slide was a shoe.
I thought it was a dance.
Right? So I Googled it. 1982 slide. And what did I find?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Okay.
So I feel like the people at Harper's Bazaar decided to make slide a thing.
Okay.
And a slide, apparently, it's a long shirt.
Oh.
Can be worn as a shirt or a dress, belted or not. It's like kind of like what we would think of as a tunic, as they said in the caption. So it's an article of clothing that I've never heard of, and a long top.
Now, who are these models again?
Donna Stia and Sheila Johnson.
Well, I will give them credit for being super flexible. They're lying on their sides, and one of their legs is pointed straight up in the air, and they're holding it. I mean, if I did that, you'd have to call 911.
Yeah, so they're also probably like 20 years old, 25 years old. So.
Well, even if I was 20 years old, I couldn't do that. I'd still be in the hospital. But and who's the photographer?
Uli Rose.
Uli. So Uli did a great job showing off the slide, if you want to call it that. Different colors. And again...
different fabrics. They can be made of silk or sporty fabrics.
It looks like it was shot at a track, possibly as well. Which is interesting to go with the outdoor look.
Yes.
So they're
never heard of a slide. I don't know if I was around in 1982. Never heard of this top. It clearly didn't survive a top. It didn't catch. It didn't take.
But I'm pretty sure there was a dance move called the slide.
Electric slide.
The electric slide. That's what I was thinking.
Was that in the That was in the 90s, I believe.
I have no idea. I've heard of the hustle, the bump, and now the slide. So there you go.
Yeah. So anyhow, all of you 80s fashionistas out there, please get in touch with me. Let me know if it's just me. Oh, sorry. That's another song.
I know. I think that's the bump. That's the hustle.
That's the hustle.
That's the hustle.
Do the hustle.
Yeah.
So all of you 80s fashionistas out there, if you've heard of a garment called the slide, please let me know if it's just me or if it's something that was made up by Harper's Bazaar or by the fashion industry at the time. We can be reached at uncoveredpodcast@yahoo.com. You can also reach me on Instagram, uncovered_VFMR.
Also on Twitter, which is @uncoveredVFMR. And if you want to find any of these wonderful magazines or some of these very interesting ads, where can they find them, Steph?
Please feel free to check out my eBay or Etsy store.
Which is?
My store name is Great Mags. That's GR8 MAGZ.
Now, I'm sorry. We have a lot of listeners apparently from Jakarta. And so what would the Z be in Jakarta? Do you know?
What?
Okay,
Why did you look it up in your Indonesian English dictionary?
Well, because it's in the other room. I don't have it handy. So if we have any people from Jakarta who can tell us what perhaps the final letter of their alphabet is. So that wraps it up for episode 11. Again, Harper's Bazaar, February 1982. There was so much information in here that we couldn't even get to. But thanks for listening. And by the way, if you can, please leave us a review. We love hearing your comments and reviews. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Uncovered Vintage Fashion Magazine Review Podcast.
Uncovered was produced by Morley Schulman, with music by David Renda and logo design by Alan Lipman.
So remember, if you liked Uncovered, be sure to tell 2 friends about it.
And they'll tell 2 friends.
And so on, and so on, and so on.